Hello, this is a slightly advanced tutorial on how to animate a model holding and removing their hat. This is unfortunately more complicated than it sounds. You will need a model you can edit, and you will need to be familiar with most of the functions of PMX Editor. What you need to do is have a model with a fully modeled head. Otherwise, this will not work at all. Once you have a fully modeled head that you can edit, what you need to do is create a new bone. I have done it right here, and I have labeled it hat. You will then need to weight the bone, you will then need to weight the hat to the bone. This way, that new bone can control the hat. Once that's done, you need to make the parent bone for the hat the head bone. In my case, that's bone 9. You'll know you've done this correctly when you can move the hat with the new hat bone, but the hat still moves with the character's head. Now, unfortunately, this isn't the end of the process, as if the character reaches up with their arm, grabs the hat, and we move the new hat bone with their hand, well, that's all fine and dandy, except when the character then later turns their head, the hat still moves with the head. So the complicated part of this process involves actually making it invisible and replacing it with a new hat model parented to the character's hand. So once you've got your bones all set up, you're going to go to your Morph tab, and you're going to create a new facial that will make the hat invisible. Label it something you remember. I've just called it hat. Once you've done all this, you then need to go to your Materials tab, make sure that the hat, everything but the hat, is selected from your mesh, and delete it, because now we are creating that separate hat model. So you want to have nothing but the hat left. You want to enable your invisible bones and delete every bone except for that new hat bone you created. If your model has any physics or joints, make sure to delete those too. My model does not. Now that all that's left is this, I'm going to select the mesh and the bone, and for ease of use, move it down towards the floor. Now you want to save it in the same folder as your model. I've already done this, given that I've used this model before, so I'm not going to save it right now, but you need to. Once you have both your model all set up and your extra hat model, we can move on to the animating process. So, once you've got your model open in MMD, you want to create your animation of the character reaching up, grabbing the hat, and pulling it off. This is mine. It looks terrible. That's not the point. So, you're going to find the frame where your character is grabbing the hat. This is the key moment. So, load up the second hat model. I've already done so. It's down on the floor. What you want to do is click this button here. This is the outside parent function. We want to parent the hat to the character model and the hand that is grabbing it. In my case, that is the right hand, so I'm going to use the right wrist bone. Click OP register and exit out. It now moves with the character's hand bone. Now the trick is on this particular frame to pose the hat so it matches the exact position of the hat that the character is wearing. This is finicky and will take some time. Be as precise as possible. Go slow if you need to. Holding Control will slow your movements. Holding Shift will speed them up. All right, I think that's pretty good on my end. You want to register it. So let's see what happens when we play the animation now. There you go! Your character reaches up, grabs the hat, and takes it off. The trick to making this work, however, is on this same frame, you want to go to your character model, not the hat, and go to your hat slider. On this frame, you make the character's hat invisible. Now go back one frame and completely deactivate the slider and register. So let's go forward another frame. This is the key moment. And let's watch what happens. Character reaches up, grabs the hat, takes it off. A complicated process for what should be a simple animation. Oh, you do want to make the second hat model invisible. On the first frame, uncheck the display box, and on the frame where it comes into play, make sure display is checked. Then go back one frame, just like before, and make sure invisible, register. You want back-to-back frames. This will prevent the hat from appearing in the animation until the moment you actually need it. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments.